Order this, ready?
Now I'm ready.
I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Board of Finance for Tuesday, March 10th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No public comment, because no public is here.
Nope.
So we can roll right on into the presentations, Marcia.
Come on, have a seat. So we're starting tonight with IT. IT is here because they don't have capital, right?
We do have capital.
Okay. They have capital,
Yeah.
they've got a next priority form, and they have got anything,
They
questions you
got
have
the
on
school
the...
laptops, a lot of them too, right? The investment in the laptops for the school side? Wasn't that in one of the presentations?
That might be tomorrow's.
Yeah,
That'd be on the
yeah,
school
but you're not
side.
gonna come back for the school side. If we have
No.
questions, you might as well, if we have a question, we'll ask it tonight,
Oh, that's fine.
right? I'm
yeah.
just saying, why bring them back on the school side?
Okay, that's fine.
All right, let me find the capital budget. But for two items on the next priority forms that, so close that one. One is a cybersecurity improvement, and one is an increase in hours to go from part-time to full-time and share with the Board of Ed. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Oh, you look confused. Do you want to talk about the cybersecurity improvement?
Sure, do you want to start, Dan?
Yeah, if you could pull the PDF back up, you guys all have it in your binder. Basically, within the town, we've been going well over the past few years with our cybersecurity insurance, wanting a certain baseline of protections. We've got our firewall is a decent advanced firewall. We've got our antivirus and protection systems. We've got multi-factor in place on our key accounts. But especially with how the atmosphere has been lately, with some things we've been seeing for other towns, we know that cybersecurity is a big hot topic and a lot of places are being targeted. So what we've had is one of our vendors who actually does a lot of our backups and our email protection already has mentioned some possible advancements we can do to our cybersecurity posture. Basically, everything we can do to be more proactive. So rather than just waiting for something to hit our firewall or to be detected by our internet protection systems, this is more looking at collating logs from our devices, monitoring all the configurations for any changes, so that way we can see before anything actually becomes a problem if there is something that looks like it might be starting to affect our network, or even just if there's any unconfigured devices or devices where we could maybe tighten things up a bit to be more secure. Part of this is also dark web monitoring to find any breaches, to find if our accounts, either our account addresses themselves, passwords, employee information, if anything that is exposed, it's giving us a heads up so we know what areas to focus on and how to avoid any potential risks from those.
So over the last 3 weeks, the number of attacks that are occurring has gone up substantially. I get reports now, and usually from the CTIC, which is a state organization that follows. I get an update once a month. In the last 3 weeks, I've gotten 3 updates. I think you've gotten the same.
Yep. State of Hawaii was the recent.
Yep. There are nation states that are really ramping up, and they are targeting government facilities. I think this is a very good thing to do.
Very, to Steve's point, very traditionally, in the past, municipalities, education have been very reactive, and unfortunately, the current environment we're in, reactive is far too late, and so the trend is to go proactive, and which is what this is really doing and focusing on, and giving us that 24/7 monitoring, especially when we're not here to monitor. On top of that, I did want to share as well that this is a service and solution actually recommended by cybersecurity insurers. There is conversation that someday it would be required. So I think it's good to get out ahead of when being forced to move to something like this. We have also been informed that other clients with this kind of solution have had good luck getting either non-increasing or reduced cybersecurity insurance premiums. There is no promise of that because of the outside world and anything that happens in the coming months and years, and cybersecurity insurances won't give out preliminary quotes that far in advance, but we are hopeful that that would be a continuing trend to keep that premium at least the same, if not better.
How much is the premium?
For the town, I believe it's 19 and change
Sounds about right, I think.
for a year.
A little less than that, but.
It's a little less, yeah. It is under 20.
And right now we have cybersecurity insurance, and if we don't do this, is it something where, let's just say we didn't have it and we, God forbid, had something happen, will they cover the claim or will they not cover the claim because we didn't have the enhanced?
With our current insurance, the claim would be covered. I mean, obviously they'll do analysis to see what the cause was. If it's something that was preventable on our side, they're obviously just like with car insurance. If we're at fault, not as likely.
Got it.
So, but yeah, our insurance will still cover. It's just we're looking at future-wise. This is something where they're going to be leaning more towards being more proactive to help avoid any risk exposure on it.
We
Right.
would
So-
be covered, but when we went to get cyber insurance for the first time,
Mhm.
it took us quite a while
Yeah,
to show this insurance company we had everything they required to even consider us for insurance. We are there now, we want to stay there, and we
and
don't want
this will
to.
fight against that ransomware stuff.
Yeah.
This will stop
Oh,
that
yeah.
from happening.
Mhm.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And right now, this is in the budget.
This is in the budget.
The first selectman put it in, and the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen kept it in.
Okay,
This is an annual fee, right?
That is correct.
Does this save you any hours and time as well, or no?
At the moment, I mean, this is adding services that we aren't performing. It's things where honestly we should be doing more, diagnostics of devices and things. This in the steps going forward will be a time saver because one of the big things. This is actively going out to each of our devices in the network, pulling its configuration, pulling its logs and things. Where say like if Marcia's computer died tomorrow, we'd be going individually to the device to pull the logs. So it will be a work savings at least for the collation, for the centralized access of information.
and obviously a savings in the fact that if God forbid something happened, it just would stop it, and then you
Right.
guys
And yeah,
would be
the
very
active
busy
early
trying
warning
to undo
ideas,
it.
yeah.
Yep.
It could save us weeks of
Could
work
be
and
months.
Weeks
something
of
else,
work.
yeah.
Yeah.
of work.
Yep.
Yeah,
And to your point, on top of that, right, this is 24/7 monitoring by an outside agency as well. So should that come at 3 a.m, we're not walking in at 8 a.m. to
a disaster.
a problem. We most likely will walk into a email that says this attack was mitigated.
Very familiar with that.
But the insurance is protecting us and will continue to protect us till it makes it mandatory for us to have this, right?
Right,
Yes.
and obviously
At some
with
point.
what we've
At
seen
some
seen
point.
going on,
Yep.
it's more likely sooner than later on that, yeah.
Sure,
Any other questions on that?
All right. There was another next priority, as
Excuse me,
far,
hold on one second, I'm sorry. The school has their 12,000 on their budget already, on their side?
Yes.
Okay.
there was another next priority form to move a part-timer, to full-time. And, that was not approved this, in the first selectman's budget or in the, Board of Selectmen's budget. The part-timer is covered, partially by, the Board of Ed and partially by the town. Our cost would be 31,000 approximately. And do you wanna talk about what that, how that would help with the, kind of combining some of the departments, IT departments and things?
Sure. Do you want me to start? Yes. Okay. So one of the reasons why this proposal came forward is as we've kind of grown with the part-time position and as well as myself joining on board with Dan, not only obviously have we started the device lifecycle plan and are keeping forward on cybersecurity and initiatives going forward, we've also found that other departments that necessarily didn't rely on us before are looking to us more for advice, implementation support, help. Mostly one of them is the library. would go to Dan on occasion, but as a one-person show, it was a little tough. And now that they've kind of got the support, and again, technology needs are increasing, cameras are becoming more needs for copying, printing, obviously cybersecurity and all that. We've been providing more guidance and support to the library for their needs. They don't have a full-time IT person, and the part-time person has been instrumental in helping us to support the library. We also know that another example, the police department, while we have two great individuals there that know IT, they are not IT people, they are sworn officers, and that's their primary job and role. We would like to better support the police department going forward by having more bench strength in IT and expanding our support of town services. And that's where the initial proposal came from.
Who manages their server? Police department? They manage
I
it
believe you
themselves?
probably met them. Matt Donadio, the captain, he was here,
he
yes, and
provided-
Brian Flanagan, yes.
Is that right next to you?
Yes.
He's very good, but he's a sworn police officer, and I think over time we need to have that conversation with the police commission. Would he be better served working as a sworn police officer and having IT to support him? And I think the more we coordinate, like we already have with the schools and the Board of Ed, we've already seen synergies between the two organizations, right, where we're doing things together, and that does save money and save time, that we need to have one, given all the threats out there, wow, we want to have, in my, one firewall, one set of things, so we know what we're doing. Now, we haven't had deep conversations with the police commission or the chief of police, but that's our thinking at some point in the future. So the Board of Selectmen and I said, right at this point in time, I would love to have another person. The person we have working part-time is really, really good.
The fire marshal with the body cam,
Yeah, they would
is
help
that,
that.
is that
they could
also
help
gonna
with that.
need IT support
Yes,
with that?
yes.
We anticipate
So
the
that's
fire
now
marshal will be
another
able
thing.
to manage that themselves, but you know how these
Okay.
things are. My printer died, I need to come to
Yeah.
these guys, so,
IT for-
and these guys have the expertise.
So I'm a little confused. You said that part-time person's being utilized by the school and the town right now.
Right.
The net difference on the budget's 35,000, but Marcia, you said 31,000 on the town side. How is that? You said 31,000.
35's, I think.
35's
just-
total.
That's just the benefits, no.
No, the whole thing,
Yeah,
right?
the wages is up above.
Where's the
It's not at
wages?
60.
Yeah, but here's the savings. When they give me the summary, they said, financial savings, removal of the part-time wages, 43,000.
Right.
Then removal of part-time, so they're removing 47,000 from the total, 82,000, which gives us a $35,000 net, right?
It looks like 17 was by the BOE, so then the town is taking 17?
Yeah, I heard 31 now, so I'm
I
sort of
said
confused.
31.
You did say 31, I think it's 34.
Let me check.
No, the
because-
overall's 34, but that's
Right.
split two ways, so it's
Right.
17 and 17.
17 and
Do you know what I
17.
think it is? That we always put in for a full-time, for a family benefits. And this one, after we met with the selectmen, we said, we already know the person that's there. We wouldn't go out for a new person.
Mhm.
And we know that there's not family benefits. And so we reduced it on this sheet, and I have to reduce it on the summary sheet. That's my error.
But it should, no, I'm not saying error, it's just, but it should be 17 and 17 or whatever the number is split, right?
That's correct.
Now, you guys turned it down. Is this in the school budget?
No, it was not put in. So that was another part of the reason why I think Steve was getting there
Yeah.
as to why we decided to hold this off, and I think that was another reason why.
So this
It
is
did
in
not.
nobody's budget right now. They're not
It's
accounted
not,
for
no.
anywhere on either side,
No,
And
we
the-
would stay with the part-time wages,
which
Right
is
now.
split.
right,
Mhm.
which we split.
Okay.
And just on the Board of Ed side, did they make an explicit decision to not put it in, or did it just not?
We didn't really have a deep discussion on that because our thinking is we would be library, police, the addition, a lot of it would be on the town side.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure things would come up on the school side. But these guys sometimes, they're putting fires out, they spend 2 days with the schools, then they spend 2 days with the town. But we thought more of the use of the new person would be on the town side. So we'd have to have a more in-depth conversation. We made the decision not to make this a full-time, or try to make this a full-time early on, so that conversation with the Board of Ed would probably be premature, right? We didn't approach them on this.
And I know that I feel like every year for the last 3 years, it started as a full-time, right? I feel like the last time I was on the board prior to Mike Reed.
Yeah, it was myself as a full-timer with the manager above me at that point.
And then you wanted another body and we got the part-time, and it's been a part-time for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
which we did say we would review after the part-time. They wanted a full-time, we went to
That's right,
part-time
that's
on
what I
our
thought.
side, and we
Kept
said
it
if it,
part-time, kept
we
it
kept
part-time.
it, so we said if it ever grew, we could consider bringing this back in as a
So
full-time.
now it seems like they're
Right, that's why I was
bringing it
asking
back.
the
That's right.
questions
And we're
about.
starting at the time. Remember, we used to have
Right,
2 full-timers.
that's right, I remember.
Then we
yeah.
went down to.
They wanted a
1 and half.
full-timer, we said
We
no,
had
but we
one.
said we'd get part-time, we
And
all
we
agreed
got-
on the part-time.
And we brought Eric in,
Right.
full-time for the town, and Eric
Correct,
is.
I mean, this is all things we
Yep.
discussed, so this
Yep.
isn't out of the blue.
No,
No,
definitely.
so yeah, so this will be our initial feeler to you to say, hey, we are starting to look at it.
We're expanding.
And the discrepancy, by the way, was the health insurance. As soon as I updated that, we tie out.
Perfect.
Thanks.
All right, I've got enough on that.
Yeah.
Ed, Nahid,
I'm good.
John, Les, everybody good? Cool.
All right, and on capital, the network switch replacements for $30,000.
I know we had our meeting
But
with
we
the
all
capital
agreed on
committee.
that, yeah.
You guys are
Yeah,
pretty much on the
this
basis
is,
of
you
it.
good with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this is.
So you guys on the cabinet, you're all good with that, so we
Yep.
don't really have to discuss that.
Not
I
at
mean,
all.
if it's gone through you three,
Yeah.
Yep.
right, that's a moot point, as
That's
far as
the
I'm
point of the
concerned.
capital.
And
Yeah.
the
Go ahead.
timeline of this, just to share this with the rest of the group, the timeline of this keeps us in a device lifecycle replacement plan for the networking equipment as well. This one has been in for a while. This one was in the plan for a number of years, and this is about the year we need to start replacing some of that equipment. So I just wanted to share that one of the things that we've been doing for the last couple of years is developing that life cycle plan for end user devices, and this fits the mold for the network.
That's
well.
awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Nahid, you good? You were gonna ask a question, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the 10,000 for the software, is that something that you guys have?
This is
something-
in capital,
The
right?
growth in the
So-
software.
That has to
This
do
is-
with the website and
Yeah, so the
savings.
changes in our lines, we've been seeing a few back and forths on it. On one of the things we had for this current year's budget was we had that one-time implementation fee on the website. So we saw that come out, we've seen a few things change around in it. The big change this year going up on the software was we have our phishing testing and our cybersecurity training system. We did a 3-year subscription for that. So that was on an off cycle for the past few years. This is the cycle when it comes back on as our bills.
Okay.
And I think in the actual budget file that I given to Marshall, we have the line by line detail. There's a few things that cycle in and out like that. So we do, when we can see savings for it, we try to do multi-year subscriptions for it. And we've been trying to balance them out, so you'll see a couple minuses and pluses on a few lines.
Back on capital, the high school is doing the network switches implementation.
Yes.
From the capital committee, the need was pretty clear, it's $130,000, of which we think we're gonna get a grant for half. Have you been involved in, is the solution that they put in place, do you think the right solution?
Yes, so it's actually pretty much the solution I put in. I've been here 9 years now. I put them into my second year, so actually 8 years ago now that I put them in. So it is a direct replacement of the existing switches, the same make, the manufacturer, all that. It's the upgraded version with higher output, supported by the company, right? Support and all that goes end of life when these things get to be 8, 9, 10 years old. The equipment we have chosen has stayed pretty relatively level in price, I mean, obviously with inflation, but has not gone astronomically out of price. They have been reliable. The entire tech department knows how to manage them, how to maintain them, how to write commands in this equipment, and so for seamless transition and to move us forward, this was my solution to be the least disruptive, best forward-moving option for the school district.
Great, thanks. 'Cause,
Yep.
yeah, in the when we talked to the Board of Ed, the need was clear, but we
Mhm.
didn't really have a technical discussion, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to check.
No, absolutely. And yes, just to make so the rest of the group knows as well, the school district gets E-rate funding, which is government funding on technology equipment. And so what Brian's referring to, the grant, would actually be a 50% reimbursement on those. Now, when you do E-rate funding, you have to budget the full amount. In case you don't get the funding, something happens in the government, they deny it, whatever the reason is. But should all that go through accordingly, we have a consultant that we file E-rate through. We're right in the middle of the process right now. We follow all the rules in that process. We don't see any reason why we wouldn't. So we are looking at 50% reimbursement on that project.
And what about the middle school and the
Middle school will be next year.
next year?
So I did inform Casey of that, and I believe that that's in the capital for next year. I think we put 130 in for this year and 130 in for next year as well. And then CLES would be a number of years down the road. That equipment's only 2.5 years old now,
Right,
almost
right.
3. Yeah.
I love the planning, you know, if you are ready, whenever you're ready, we'd love to see it too.
Sure.
You know, I think that's one of the things that we really love seeing,
Okay.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, before you guys leave, I'm gonna challenge you two. Look at this part-timer and see if they can make savings anywhere. Go back and look and see if you had the extra hours, could you produce any savings?
Okay.
Somewhere, I don't know what it is, but, and Steve, if you could, speak to the police chief and see if we freed up Matt a little bit, does that give us an extra half a police officer somewhere? That we don't have to have an extra half of a police officer? Because if we don't need an extra half a police officer and relieve some overtime or something on their side,
It will be a
and they
savings.
find a savings, the 30,000 goes away.
Yeah, I'll have
Yeah,
that conversation.
That's,
Yeah, and, one thing in a meeting today, that we're switching, and they have a new scheduling software they've been implementing. We're about to, in the next few months, use it for the payroll. And the Board of Selectmen challenged us to try and find out more about overtime and what's causing the overtime. So we have ideas that, you know, if we did this, this might happen to the overtime. And that, it's, the data's just starting. So let's say January 1st, we'll start to, 3 months ago, we'll start to have data on this overtime was for, you know, people calling out on sick time. This overtime was for, whatever it is they have overtime for. But there's maybe 15 different categories that he had.
Sounds good, perfect.
And,
But I'm saying that, like, in the meantime, though, if we can free up Matt for half of a police officer, that's a savings alone, right?
Yeah,
This
and Mike,
time-
on the comps grant, maybe we could push back a little bit.
And on their side, if they could figure out a little bit, the position will be needed at some point.
Yeah, well, all right, we'll look at it again and come back to you.
Yes,
Do that
if there's
this
any
evening.
I think
savings.
investing in IT is futuristic for sure.
This is something we talked about, again, before you and Brian and everybody else was on the board. This is something, we pushed back on their full-time
We did.
very hard.
Very
We
hard.
said we didn't see the hours needed, we pushed back hard.
Yep.
And they accepted the part-time, they've done well with the part-time, and now it may be time to consider this. I don't know if this year, but if we get help from the police and you guys figure out something, right, maybe we can have that.
Closer to the tipping point, I don't know if we just hit it or not yet.
I don't know, I don't know, but I'd like to see a little bit more, that's
Yeah, I'd
all.
like to have the conversation, because John might come to me and say, hey, I want my IT internally, it's police, it's special records, it's whatever, but I'll have that conversation. for
That's
sure.
all we're asking, that's all.
And,
All right.
you know, we're not gonna push them without getting their agreement.
Yes.
No, this is not a push.
Yeah, This is not a push,
This
this
is
is
a
a
help.
conversation.
If it can help
If you
all
know.
sides, then we're
Then-
investing in it.
Yep.
And if we could see this, the value, and we could get savings to boot, this is not a push, this is a help investment,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's how I
That's
look
what
at
That's
it.
how I-
we wanna do.
That's how I saw it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for IT? All right, we're gonna go to the Board of Ed side, and I know the Board of Ed isn't here, but I think you had when I saw the presentation, I was looking at it briefly, there was a push for quite a few laptops, 400 of them, or something.
Oh, that ended up getting reduced, I believe. So that was originally, we were looking to implement a full one-to-one program for all students across. But after the reductions on the Board of Ed side, that came back down. So that's now down from 400 Chromebooks to what I ask for every year, which is 200 Chromebooks to replenish. So that went back to flat.
So when you put forth the 400, just so we do our due
Oh, yeah,
diligence,
understood.
and I don't wanna get in trouble, was it a real need, or is this a real want?
Well, it's a little bit twofold, right? So I would say that there is a strong desire to go to a full-on mandatory one-to-one program where every student gets a school-issued Chromebook. It's less distracting. We've seen positive results across the board. You can see it happening with the state, the removal of cell phones from classrooms. We're talking about the state, and but students are still bringing in personal devices and using those personal devices to maybe iMessage or get onto things that they shouldn't be getting. And so a district-issued Chromebook allows us to maintain control, make sure they have all the apps and updates and everything that they need. So that's the want. But to make that program work, we need more Chromebooks. Yeah.
I just wanted to understand it. I saw the
Yep.
presentation and just due diligence
That's a good way
to
to
understand it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. In order to-
Chromebooks are incredibly rugged for the most part. I have a son, he's the IT professional for a high school. 30% of the Chromebooks he gets back are not usable or need significant repairs. And Chromebooks aren't, it's really hard to repair them, right, because of the nature of the beast. So we're gonna have this cost every year.
yeah, I was just
Yeah.
making sure we did our due diligence
Yeah.
and asked the question, that's all, so we understand what happened there. All right, any other questions for IT?
Do we know of like other towns that have, like, are there other towns that have one-to-one Chromebooks?
So a lot of towns have varying like
Yeah.
programs like us where we're kind of optional. You can either get a Chromebook from us or bring your own. What the one right off the top of my head that I know does the mandatory, the full one-to-one is Bethel.
Okay.
And we've actually gotten some of the information, fee structure, policies, and all that we actually had shared from us from Bethel. So we collaborate as the IT leaders.
The school my son works at, about 800 students, 100% Chromebooks.
Yeah.
They do not allow outside devices.
Just 'cause
I have a
They
list.
had
I have a
some-
list of other
they had
districts.
the
I think
problems
Monroe's
that
another
he
one.
was just talking about.
Like
Yeah.
my thought, those scores that we talk about, is there any correlation to one-to-one Chromebooks versus increase in those scores? But
That's
if
more
there's
than a
not,
discussion.
yeah.
No, I just want to understand
Still good
how we
data.
got from
I'm
there
actually
to here,
interested in
so
that
that's
fact.
all, so, yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
different type of thinking, but
All right, anything else? All right, thanks, fellas.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who's next on our agenda?
EMS is on their way in.
Are they in the hallway?
They
Oh,
are.
you're back.
Oh.
Basically, my point is to have them improve it and hopefully just keep it at this.
Hopefully that's the decision they
Yeah.
make. The right thing.
No, I wanted to understand it though, in case it comes
Yeah.
up, you know, just so
It
they-
is good to get the background and the history and understand it. So when it comes up again, we understand that, you know.
Said no, it's good to understand.
Understand the due diligence, right? We ask our questions.
Hi, everybody.
There he is.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
We're good.
Don't blame me on or lose.
Do we need Lou?
I mean, doesn't everybody need one?
We're on video, by the way.
Yes.
You do have a point.
Everybody needs a
We're on video.
Good evening.
We're on video.
How are you? Back here.
I'm just a support person today.
Frazier, you're not sitting at the table?
Support.
I'm the emotional support character.
That's right.
All right, so if we start with EMS, and we start with our operating budget, we collaborated a little bit differently this year. We have been working with Munis to get the records on Munis. We have a dedicated person to help do that. And so we started with the budget this year from the finance office and asked them to look at what we prepared and make changes to it. And so you'll see that it says town first pass and adjustments. And we have agreed with all their adjustments on the EMS. The scary one is the revenue. And I say it's scary only because it's scary to us that they used a higher number than we did this year. And usually we're saying, oh no, come on guys, we want to be right in the middle. But we both prorated the revenue, and we got to a point, but then they worked to apply to the state to get an increase in the fees. And the increase in the fees is approximately 10%, and that's why there's a change in the revenue by approximately 10%.
Yep, so I worked with Lou and everybody to get all of our financials, and if you've ever applied for the Department of Public Health to get an increase in revenue, don't. But it's worth the hard work. There were a number of years in the past where the increases weren't applied for, at least that's what I assume, and then once I got into the position, we started to realize that we were way behind the 8 ball. We were the fourth lowest, we had the fourth lowest rates for ambulance providers in the state of Connecticut, out of all of the towns. So with going through what they call the state of Connecticut long form, we essentially justify, and part of that, justify that request is proving the growth of call volume and the call volume and the costs that it is to do business. With our partnership with Marcia and the Department of Finance, we were able to show that obviously we're not able to make a profit. EMS is never going to be a profitable business unless you're in a commercial and doing transports, but we were able to prove the need to at least get to the state allowable maximum rates. And once I got approval from that, speaking to our billing company, the rates average out to be about a 15%. I was advised that 10% is an appropriate rate to increase for projected revenue based on contracted, negotiated rates for ambulance providers, based on the mix of payers that we have between advanced life support, basic life support, and the two different levels of advanced life support. So when I came up with the number for the fiscal year, I took the revenue, the gross revenue for quarter 1 and 2 of the current, added 10%, times it by 2.
So just so I'm clear, so this is billed like on a per call basis?
Yes, sir.
Basically? And when you say you got approval, I assume most of these are paid by the person transporting insurance,
Yes.
right? And so are we still, I don't know, so are we still kind of in the right range, so it's gonna be covered by insurance, or are we gonna still have a bunch of people who are gonna be having out of pocket because of rates that have gone up?
Well, there's the percentages of out-of-pocket is based on the individual's insurance.
Right,
So that's not anything that I really have,
you wouldn't
wouldn't really know.
know, right?
The public insurance, Medicare and Medicaid, we have a lot of Medicare in town,
Sure.
and we certainly do review any hardships, for any out-of-pocket costs. So when somebody reaches out and writes a letter to us and says, hey, our insurance covered this much, we're having financial hardship, we review the call expenditures that were put out for the call itself and an appropriate range of discount if there's one applied.
Right, I'm not anywhere near an expert in this, but I thought like even for the Medicare stuff, there's kind of like a usual prevailing rate or something, that there's a standard rate that they reimburse.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, do we know if the new billing is gonna be above that? If everybody's all of a sudden having to pay out of pocket, there's gonna be a lot of pushback in the town. Maybe there should.
I mean, we
If
still.
it's within the
I mean,
level.
we still have to. I mean, we have to bill for every call, and calls that do not get paid go to collections.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I
we,
got it.
and that's one of those.
That.
That's where we're kind of stuck in a hard place. But it costs money to
Right.
do business. When you look at the
Here's-
front page,
Here's my point. Let's
when
say
you look
that-
at here, it's
Yeah.
double the calls in 10 years.
Right.
That's crazy.
Here's all, and if you don't know the answer, this is what I'm sensitive to. Let's say that, and I have no idea the levels, let's say Medicare pays $500, I have no idea what the rate is. And we used to be at 400, and if we now went up 10%, now we're at 440, well, Medicare's still gonna pay for it. But if we went up to like to 520, then all of a sudden, everybody's gonna get a $20 bill because Medicare's not gonna pay all that. You know what I mean? So We should just watch that, because if for some reason we've just tripped that level and now everybody's getting a little bill, there's gonna be a lot of dissatisfaction for not a lot of benefit.
Everybody gets a bill.
But then it goes to
Regardless.
insurance.
It goes to insurance, and anything above and beyond, we are always open to reviewing what the case is and, applying a discount if it's appropriate. One thing that I do not do is if it's somebody who lives outside of Brookfield, unless it's an extreme case, we don't discount our bill. Because we're still less than all of the towns around us.
So basically.
I think we're okay
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
that point.
right, but basically what we get, maybe my understanding is, we can only bill up to a certain amount, we have to go to the state to say we wanna bill more. So, but we're still lower than the other
So
area
it
towns.
probably should be okay.
Yeah, we should be more than fine on that, because, but they were set at a billing rate, so even if the call costs 5,000, they can only bill 1,000, because they only bill a rate of $1,000, right?
Correct.
So you went and asked for a 10% increase on that, and you justified it with the calls.
Yes.
And that's been approved.
And that's been approved.
Yeah,
That
so
was
the
approved
state-
back in
Who
December.
approves it, the state?
State of Connecticut.
So
Department
the
of,
state had to go
EMS.
through this, so I mean, I'm sure
Yeah, we
we're
have to-
looking at some of this.
Yeah, we have to post that, our
Yeah,
license,
yeah,
and we
right.
have to post our rates in both firehouses.
Yeah, I mean, I think just if for some reason there's a sea change in the amount of people who are calling you up saying, you can't pay, insurance is covered, we should keep an eye on that, that's all.
Absolutely. And say, for example, in 2023, the state came out with a treat no transport bill, allowing us to bill for treat no transport. Commercial insurances and Medicaid pay for that. Medicare does not. So if the patient's secondary Medicare or Medicare denies the bill, they get a flat, much lower fee than what insurance.
They're sensitive to that. They're sensitive.
And our goal for that it wasn't to bring in money, it was actually to get them more help with social services, so that gave us an avenue with that. So, that's our ultimate goal, make sure people get taken care
I hear
of.
what you're saying, I 100% hear what you're saying, but I gotta applaud
Well,
taking
no,
the
it's great
initiative
they're doing, yeah,
to
yeah.
go get 10% of the
Yeah.
billing, you gotta applaud the
Yeah.
initiative to put the effort in, to make this happen, so on the reverse side, I mean, it's,
Well, your negative growth, so that's because of the revenue, right?
yeah.
The first thing I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing, and then it's like the revenue that's amazing. Yeah. Can I ask what the difference in the two papers?
One is calendar year and one is fiscal year. So the bottom page, I believe, is fiscal year. Yeah, bottom page is the fiscal year, and then top page is calendar year.
It's fun how those numbers are different.
I know, I'm like, why would,
It always threw me off when you try to do fiscal year, calendar year, and call numbers.
And you'll see
They
the-
cover it.
The 2026 fiscal year, these are projected, obviously not actuals, but we're looking at about a 9% increase in transports if we continue with what we're doing.
Okay, let's roll on then.
All right, and I'm sorry, I was a little remiss that we have some new members, and they may not know all of you, that this is Les Slater, he's
Oh, I
new.
apologize.
And
I should do the house cleaning.
Mascolo. John Mascolo, and if you guys could introduce yourselves.
Derek Farmer, the fire chief.
Wayne Whitkey, Deputy Chief of EMS.
Lou Menendez, Assistant Treasurer. Fraser Weir, Captain of EMS.
Bill Doyle, Assistant Chief.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we go down to payroll, and we have agreed on payroll, but we have a risk there, that we did it based on, in finance, we did it based on the actual last year. We had a full year of actual, and we multiplied it by percentage increases. And then we compared that to what Fraser did, and he did, this is the worst case scenario, that everybody uses all their sick time, everybody has this coverage. I don't make this up as I'm going along, but something like that. And there is a difference of $90,000 that I think we agreed that we would use this number, but you need to know that worst case scenario, it could be $90,000 higher.
And we had a similar discussion, I believe it was 2 years ago, or was it last fiscal year, to where there was a difference, and it did work out that, not to poke you in the eye, that our total number was accurate, that was submitted. It was just, I think we still have to work on some of our translation and labeling of how we put it together, and then how it translates over into the finance. We're getting there.
This, so this is similar to our negative contingency with the police department. We think there's gonna be savings, there may not. So we're not overloading the budget. But there is a chance these guys could come to us 6 months from now and say, we're running over.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Maybe.
No, that's where our quarterly meetings come into
Yep.
a real benefit, where
That
we're
gets
able to
us-
actually see real-time numbers, and it helps us.
And no surprises in May.
No, this past year has been great. We have 0 complaints with how it's been going.
What would you like to see?
Glenn's trying to figure out where the 90 is on this sheet.
It's not on this
Oh,
sheet,
okay.
that, it's, worst case, 80,000. What we did in finance was we took, the prior year, which it looks like we're coming in on target.
That's what it costs.
They're just working something out. So
Sorry,
hold on,
go ahead.
Marcia.
Go ahead,
She's
Marcia.
trying to explain it.
Go
you
ahead,
guys were
Marcia,
talking.
you get 10,000 humbles.
What we did was we took the prior year budget, which it looks like we're coming in on target. We increased it, that they have an agreement that their cost of living would equal the Social Security cost of living. And then they do merit increases, and so that's the amount here. Not everyone gets the same amount, and that's how we got to the budget. That when they multiply it out to say, you know, that we could have X number of hours of each one of these different categories, and if the, Wayne was out and we have this person covering for him, that's where it's 80,000, not 90, 80,000 difference.
If I can speak into that real quick, I did have an EMS captain who was out of work, who is a salaried supervisor. He was out of work on long-term and short-term disability for knee replacements. So instead of paying him to be here from mid-August to mid-February, that was filled with mostly part-time and per diem staff. So that, and Fraser stepping up and picking up extra shifts, and me throwing myself in there. So there's some cost savings with that for the current actuals.
So it might understate next year a little bit when we get back to normal.
Yes.
You didn't do any adjustment for that, Marcia, when you?
I did not. We ended up after our meetings to let that be known that it's a risk, and I believe we were all comfortable taking that risk
Absolutely.
as long as you know it's out there, and we'll continue our quarterly meetings. One of the things that we were charged with is there was an awful lot of categories in the budget, and so they asked us to try and start consolidating some of the categories. So you'll see in this column, it's called reclassified budget. It's just so you can compare last year's budget to this year's budget. And it doesn't balance by $4,450, and that's because one of the things was moved from fire to EMS here. Medical physicals for EMT. So that was what they decided to move it. It's in the board of, it's in the EMS adjustment column, not the finance column, but we agree with that.
So basically, what you're telling, this is just growing pains.
Yes.
They're merging into the town, they've opened up their books to the town, we've gotten more visibility than we've ever had to support them. They're focusing on doing their job, they're very conscientious of the dollars, they're conscientious of the revenue, they went out and got 10% of the revenue. So these numbers in this brown is just growing pains that we gotta learn to get through over a few years and they'll go away
Yeah, a couple years.
eventually,
And
right?
then
I
some of
mean,
it's reclassification.
Reclassifying.
Reclassifying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, this
That
is
was,
growing pains.
when we went to the Board of Selectmen, that was one of the things, we kinda went through and we're like, here's where this money is, what is now, but this is where it was, and it
So,
all.
you-
out.
You
What
two
you're-
guys are happy,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
basically,
it's- up the
we're
ship.
taking your structure and moving it into the town
Yeah.
structure,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
gonna have pains getting there a little bit.
We're in
but
year
these
what,
are,
two
these are
now?
minor pains.
Year
$4,000
two, we're getting
here.
Yeah, so you guys can look at this department versus that department and know you're looking at the
We
same
have more visibility, that's what we've been asking for, more visibility to help
And we got it.
support you, to understand your business as much as we can. And I think this is what we've asked for, yes or no?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Marcia, you happy too?
Yeah, overall, the budget went up for expenditures, 126, 116 was payroll and benefits. The last we had heard at the time was their health insurance might go up 18%. So that's in here. And then 10,000 was just small items in the non-payroll expenditures.
so can you help on that, cause on the top of the chart, it says health insurance is up like over 30%, 32%.
So we have a few things that go up in health insurance. One is, there's always a change in the census data, that someone might get married, have a baby, something like that, so that would change health insurance. I think there's one more person on health insurance. Let me go over there.
Let me
And
I'll take a step, I mean, do you actually have like a spreadsheet that's calculating that at that level? I mean, if you've done that level of analysis, then you have it, that's fine.
Yeah, they know they know the staff, and they've done the numbers to the, whether it's single or family insurance,
I know what
yes.
the other thing is,
The back.
that this year was too low. The year that we're in now was too low. The problem we have we have 2 years of incremental increases in health insurance, that their insurance goes up May 1st. And then it goes up again on, so May 1st of this year, unknown. May 1st of next year, unknown. And when we budgeted for this year, we budgeted too low, and so that was part of what the increase was.
So the current budget that we're in is understated for what also, so the May health insurance number, you don't know what that is?
My latest that I got this afternoon, we were looking at 14.6
And
for
what do
health
you kinda have
insurance.
inherently in here? There's some-
18% built in there.
There's a little cushion there.
Little
So there
bit of
is,
room to
yeah,
help
there's a
with
few
that.
percentage points.
Start squeezing with that 90,000 risk we got, okay, good.
Yeah,
That's good.
very comfortable right now. And Steve, you've been comfortable now this year with these
Absolutely, the
numbers?
conversation we had, we sat down, we went through it. I am absolutely confident, I think so is the Board of Selectmen, that the detail was there, that the work has been done. They've gone through every single, is this person single at this rate, married at this rate? Oh, this person's getting married, this is the rate's gonna go to that, so, we're very comfortable.
And we've even gone through working with Lou on things like, Sarah that is dedicated to, helping with this is, I think we saved 75% by switching them over to our bottled water contract. Okay, it was 75% of 1,000, but still,
Still a savings.
that, we've switched them over to our,
They'll be amazing.
Gas.
I ordered today
That'd be
7
good.
bottles of
Electric.
water, which on our previous vendor would have been around $100. Today it was 36.
And
Yeah,
oxygen.
I think it's just more the better communication, the visibility, how we can help you better,
Yeah.
right? And to understand where you're at. And I think this is what we talked about 2 years ago. I know it took a lot of work from your guys' side and a lot of work on Steve and Marcia's
And I
side.
think there was a lot of concern a couple of years ago that you guys would lose control of your ability to do your job. And that isn't our goal. And I think we work together and we have it now. You guys are doing a great job. It's totally open. We know where you are, what you're doing. It's worked really, really well for everybody. And this budget season
Growing pains.
for these guys was a lot shorter than last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're around a long time on this side.
Budgets used to, I mean, we'd spend weeks and weeks
We'd
on
start in
budgets. We
October.
had 3 meetings, and
Well,
this was, I mean, as
We
easy
we
as it
don't
gets.
want you to waste that time.
No, no.
You do
Yes,
enough for the
yes.
town.
You
You
do.
guys do everything for
Exactly.
the town. We don't want
No, like I
that.
said, seeing the real-time data and the quarterly meetings, this really gets us a grasp on where we really are real-time, and it's definitely, it was the unknown, but, this is working out
Especially if
very
something pops out first quarter. We're coming to you guys immediately and saying, ooh, sheesh. Our
Yeah, but if we know
receivables
the
for-
problem, we can solve the problem.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And like I said, that, you know, seems like, you know, things like medical supplies. God forbid, like there's a hurricane in Puerto Rico and all of a sudden it wipes out their normal saline factory. We're gonna pre-buy. You might see a jump in medical supplies right away, but we're gonna be like, hey, listen, we pre-bought stuff because
we all know.
we're expecting this, and that's
So
and
we'll
that's the
all
communication
know,
thing.
so we
So
can
as
all
long as we
handle
know.
it on the backside, we'll
Yeah.
know ahead of time,
And
and
you'll see
that's the communications, and Brian has even said, even on buying the vehicles, he knows you gotta buy them ahead of time, in the capital side, he knows if you need it 2 years from now, we
Yeah.
might have to put a deposit down, and he's been talking about that with his team, so I think the right, I mean, the communication's working. So thank
Absolutely.
you all, appreciate it.
Just a little kudos to Marcia there. The document we're looking at right here was developed by her with the information that we've gained over the past year or so, such that typically I build this thing from scratch each year. So this time it was review what was already put in place, tweak a number here and there, and that was kind of it. So that was a great help to me personally, anyway.
And-
So
and
that's
we
what
would
we
really-
do, this is the process we do now, after it comes, the same thing, Marcia sets us up, we can look at it, and it works.
And we would respectfully request that the time that Lou is saving, that maybe he make one of those dinners for us for these meetings. I've heard about
Now
those.
we're talking.
Oh, I don't know.
We had a
I'm waiting on the
discussion about
smoker.
meatloaf last night.
Wade makes some.
Well,
he
I will
makes
tell
some
you, the
meat
meatloaf
wings.
was fantastic last evening.
I didn't get it.
I didn't get to eat it until halfway through the monthly meeting, but it was still good.
All right, what else we got now, Marshall? Let's
and
keep
so,
rolling.
EMS, I think there was a Hearst tool or something.
No, it's for fire. That should be
That's
for
fine.
fire.
There's no equipment for
I put
EMS.
0 in for capital for this next fiscal year.
Which we
What
changed,
we-
we did in the meeting decide, I think at the capital committee suggestion, to put in $20,000 for a building study.
Right.
So we
Yes.
start talking about it, we start having something to look
Yeah.
at. what we're
So
doing.
you got a place.
Now, I don't know if 20,000 is enough based on our last discussion.
Well, if we want to do it fully, we want to look at both the existing EMS station and the old police station.
Potential, yeah.
I got the quote last week for the old police station, it's $20,000 to fully design it for EMS. So 20,000 for the other building would be about the same. Now, we'd need to get that approval, because we only got the approval this year so far for 20,000. We need to get another 20 to do both buildings. And the more information you have, if you're planning on spending $2 or $3 or $4 million, you want all the options out there and laid out specifically. Not it's kind of maybe this amount, you really want that.
When we squeeze down, that could be an add-in.
Okay,
that-
we'll
that
see
could
if we
be in
can,
the-
if we can bump that number up a bit so we can get
The
more.
left page, right page.
And then the other thing you guys gotta talk about is who's gonna execute and manage that study, right? So
Yep.
that's always getting money in the budget and then spending it sometimes. isn't it?
Well, we're wrapping up the
Make sure-
fire EMS ad hoc committee, so we're ready to start out.
Yeah, good. Give us something else to do.
All right, what else you got, Marshall?
That's it for EMS.
Any questions that you guys have? Les,
No, I'm good.
John, Brian?
What was the number that we ended up, the summary number?
$90,864.74, down.
Down.
Which is,
Which is incredible.
My goal is to
I know,
continue.
coming into a budget meeting, you're like, wait, we increased a bunch of stuff, but we're down? Like, this is great.
And
We
we
saw
have
the
seen
delivery,
it.
we would have come
No,
to you.
it's-
Yeah, oh yeah, no, it's great.
Well, we hope for more revenue. and-
We love revenue. Revenue is a great thing when we're able to get it.
Just in these first 2 months of this current calendar year, I have noticed an increase in revenue coming in. Now, mind you, it's usually a month behind, but, you know, I'm hoping that we're just gonna be better off as we keep going.
I think just the attitude, the commitment, you've always had it, but just the
Yeah.
communication part of this is gonna help us all.
Impressive.
And what you guys do, I can't thank you enough. And Steve and I were at the high school the other night, we had an incident at the high school with our town residents, and you guys were there within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no waiting, there was no, oh my God, where are you guys? It was like, oh my God, they're here already. So
Okay,
what you
great.
guys do, we can't thank you enough as a town.
It turned out great, but it started really scary.
Yeah, it
Right.
was.
I can
But
imagine.
you were there.
Yep.
Brianna, any questions on your side? The heat, you're
No.
good?
Thank you so much
Gentlemen,
for all
thank
the
you.
service.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All of you, thank you.
Two of you can leave. I have to stay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on duty now.
I get to.
I was covering.
I am home for Thursday.
All right. Well, I'm gonna I'm gonna go and
Go to work.
grab my wife, and she is my volunteer partner tonight.
Oh, so maybe I should have a fate. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
The fire was the same process, they came in and, we did the first pass and they did the second pass. There were some changes, based on, from this budget to the budget that you're looking at now. And they were roughly based on, the same thing we talked about last night with land use. Land use added 1,000, but didn't have a firm item behind it to, you weren't here. But land use added 1,000 to,
The postage, it was the
Postage, I was
postage.
here
We're
the day
anticipating.
before we talked
They were
about it.
anticipating
Yeah,
it.
they were in, for an increase, but, that there wasn't strong, data behind it. And so they took it out, you guys took it out, and, we'll look at it during the year, and if it materializes, we'll change it with the quarterly meetings. So there were some things that were changed there, and that were just things like, $1,000 was added here, but there was no documentation of why. But again, it's a risk that,
So, Marcia, is the Board of Selectmen budget we're looking at now got all that in there, or are there proposed changes post Board of Selectmen?
the Board of Selectmen budget has those changes in it.
Got it.
That,
The C
and
to three.
And
Before
then
you-
there was one other change that, as we went through each budget, there were certain things that, the departments had in the budget that were new. And, with Naheed's new schedule of, 2-year comparisons, we were able to isolate those. And so there's a change there to take the, Dropbox subscription out and put it as a next priority form for $3,014 or some such thing.
Before you go further, I just want to ask one question. Contingency, I know it's off target. No, the contingency is at 410, correct?
Right now it's at 410.
So, without getting into too much detail, and then I know some of that's probably strategic, how much of that contingency is pretty much spoken for?
For this year?
Yeah, for in this budget,
In this
the
budget?
410. I mean, do you have, I know there's things you probably, with discussions, labor and everything
Depending
else.
on how our negotiations come out,
Right. Do we have $100,000?
60% of it,
Okay, so we have $100,000 that we can still work with her,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Correct, and.
So I'm saying like these 3,000s that we're talking about, we can get rid of some of them and rely on contingency maybe to pick
Yeah,
up some of
yeah.
this. I know some of you have earmarked, and I
Yeah.
understand that. Okay, so go ahead, Marcia, I'm sorry. So,
I think that's absolutely true.
And we have been meeting quarterly with the fire department and EMS, just to see, is there a problem? Is there something coming up that we should know about? We've made some budget adjustments already. For example, with the EMS, that increase in health insurance that we covered in the January budget adjustment, I think it was. I'm trying to find where I have them. Oh, they're down here.
We're in there somewhere.
Yeah, that, so there were some small things that we took out, again, that's a risk that, but we felt as though between the history of, items that, it was, a managed risk.
right, but we could support it through the appropriation thing. They come to Steve and say, hey, we had this happen to us, and that's what I was asking about the contingency money.
Yep,
We have enough to pick up the nickels and the dimes still.
yes, we do.
Yep, and there's always something that comes in under budget that.
That's what I'm saying, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping the same this year with the salt and sand and overtime from all the snow. But, right now, we think, at least the, Public Works Department thinks that he can cover it within his own budget on his stuff, and we'll see, we just haven't talked to Parks and Rec.
So get back to the contingency. Can you come back to us tomorrow with a number that you think is encumbered? We don't need to know the reason why it's
We'll do.
encumbered. I don't need to know, we don't need
Will
to
do.
know. But we think we're encumbering 280 out of that 410 or 290. That gives us a little bit of knowledge of what's out there.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Marcia, go ahead.
And so we want to talk a little more about this Dropbox, that we had an email going that, what's the purpose of the Dropbox? Could we use, you already own OneDrive, could we use OneDrive instead? We heard from our two IT members that OneDrive would work. We haven't heard from you about, if you like that idea, if you don't like that idea. I know you don't like it, but.
I don't like it, let me explain why. When you go on your computer, you see files, you don't go into OneDrive, right? To boxes and boxes inside of boxes and so forth and so on. You're looking at a Windows file structure. We have got thousands of folders, forget about documents. And to do it through that is an awkward way to do business. It's very difficult. All right, the reason we're looking for this is we've been on Dropbox for probably 12, 13 years. It eliminates us having to have servers. We don't have to have a server, we don't have to back it up. Everything, as soon as you file something, boom, goes up to the cloud. If we lose our whole system, we just buy a new one, log in again, and we have everything we need. And it allows us to, I can go into finance, into the budget folder, instead of, when you're talking about OneDrive, it's just an awkward thing. I've used it, I'm not fond of it at all, and what we're doing is only the members of line officers, administrative officers, and a couple of key people in certain positions will have a license to this. The rest of the membership, for the limited needs they have, which is to see things like bylaws, what the squads are for the night, who's on what squad, those types of things, casual user, yes. But when you're talking about heavy lifting, a Windows file structure is what you want to have.
But with OneDrive, we back every single thing up. Everything, I can save it on my
Oh,
local
no,
computer,
we
and it
do-
automatically
we do too.
saves
I'm not-
to OneDrive.
It's not the backup, it's ease of use.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame.
I mean, when I'm doing like building
You-
and stuff
you
like that,
know,
as soon as I do a state highway form, as soon as I do my state highway form and I save it, it automatically goes into my billing forms. And if I go into 2026 billing forms and click on it, I can open up and see every bill light I've sent out so far.
Let me ask you a question. You use Service, right? And you use a file system, the Microsoft file system.
You know,
Why aren't you on OneDrive?
we are on OneDrive.
Why?
Because
You
the
know
file
what-
system
what's
came
in
first.
OneDrive?
Hold on,
I think
let's talk about this. For this amount of money, as far as we've come, let's fund it this year and then we'll work on this next year or down the road.
It's an
No,
Apple
That's
thing,
it,
right?
that's
Let's-
the licenses,
right.
yes.
I don't
Yeah.
have a problem doing
I
that,
think
but we
it's
should have the further discussion.
Yeah.
Because OneDrive
All I'm
works
saying is
very
let's stay with this.
Yeah,
If they're
that's-
comfortable, we've moved so far as a group on each side.
I don't
Let's
wanna get in a
fund
big
this
fight about
$3,000
No,
Exactly.
and move on to
Let's
the
end it.
next thing.
I
So we're not gonna
think
deliberate later?
I don't think we have to unless I'm in a,
Sounds like Naheed's
No,
not.
I was gonna say, I think the,
Oh, that I missed.
We should have waited and deliberated later, like the process said we would, so. I'm not
All right.
gonna vote like I suggested. Hit it.
Well, you can. All right, I'm wrong. I'll say I'm wrong. We'll talk about it later. How's that?
I think I understand why you want it.
All
I'm
right.
gonna have to be in the middle of the two of them now.
No, we're
yeah,
not.
I'm just kidding.
No,
No,
I
I think,
apologize.
We can stick Lou over there.
The key is we do
Yeah, I
not
might
want
just
to
ask you,
have
are you
everything
all
just sitting
using
on one
OneDrive for
PC.
everything you do today?
No,
We
no,
want
that's,
that
yeah.
work. We have to-
And here, that's all you?
I work,
No, that's
I
where
use
everything
two
is.
Okay,
OneDrive.
I did too when I was working.
All right, we're good on this.
All right.
Yeah, we're good on this right now. We
Okay,
understand.
you know what, we know what you're looking for.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
good.
And so, the items that are in the capital budget.
Can I just ask, I'm sorry, it's a small number, but the billing revenue like dropped from 2,000 to.
So let me explain that.
Yes.
So, we have a few issues we have to handle. One, we don't have an ordinance for billing. So where I run into is when I go to a motor vehicle accident, this happened to me not too long ago. I bill for a motor vehicle accident, I give it to our billing company, they send it to the insurance company. If the tow truck company gets there first and takes all the collision, I don't get any reimbursement. So one tow company gave $3,000. I had a $700 bill, and they told the insurance company, well, the fire department's not allowed to bill. They don't have any right. We're in charge of hazmat. They can't do anything. Well, we're an all hazards department. We are to the train to the level of hazardous materials operation. We provide speedy dry. We clean up the stuff. We put all the debris in their vehicles. So we need an ordinance
We'll put it in.
to give us something.
The town ordinance.
Yes, fire alarm building. We need to start doing that, and that needs to be an increased rate. So when we go to a nuisance fire alarm repeatedly, we need to start billing people for that. And then the other part was the state was cutting back. So there's only a limited amount of funds. So we do get a $500 per incident on Route 7 and White Turkey Extension and the ramps for the highway. So every time we get one, I can put in for a call. So I think I've submitted like $3,500 in bills, waiting to see if it comes in. But personal insurance, I think we bit off more than we could chew many years ago. One year we got a $23,000 bill because we had a truck that from one of the places leaking isopropyl alcohol. That was like a $23,000 or $24,000 bill. That doesn't happen every day. We have a couple of car accidents, a couple extrications. We can bill for structure fires. Most homeowners insurances have up to $1,000 in the policy. But we're going after our residents to, after they've lost everything in their house, and then we're sending them a bill for $1,000. But hey, by the way, the fire department needs our money. So our revenue is not there. We don't have any backbone. It's not like EMS where it's mandated that we can bill. We have all these rates. We need an ordinance to back that up.
So to be fair, go to local towns that have the ordinance, send it to me. And
Yeah, so that's
we'll
something.
put it in.
And
What
there's not a lot of
ordinances
towns
do you
that bill
need?
for
Yeah.
fire services either. That's another problem.
If we can, I
Yeah,
think we should.
so-
I know it's not gonna be a huge money winner, but
So-
if an insurance company is willing to pay, I know the police, if they get nuisance calls, because my brother-in-law had a business in town with with an alarm,
Yeah, we
and
got
it went
hit
off.
with
that.
It goes off too many times. They start sending you a bill.
We got hit with
We
that
should
a
do the
couple
same
times.
thing.
But and we have that, but we haven't figured out between the police department, the fire marshal's office, our billing, who's in charge for running those reports, who's going to send out the bills, who's going to. So there's a discussion that we need to have with the police department and the fire marshal's office and you guys obviously. But that's why there's a decrease in there. Is I submitted $15,000 worth of bills last year and we got nothing because we can bill, but they don't have to pay us. So instead
How
of
much do you think you're gonna get this year, in this budget year?
we've got 2,000 so far this year, correct?
So you had a budget of 10,000, you think you're gonna come up with only?
I just built another 3,500, and then we have to take a quarter of all that money, and a quarter of it goes to Canada.
So I'm just asking, so of the 10,000 budget, you're gonna miss that this year?
I'm hoping I'm hoping crashes on Route 7. I'll keep
We
going.
don't want you to overachieve.
You know, it's,
Yeah.
no, it's but that's the only guaranteed way. And
That way-
You say we
This-
wanna pick our spot.
the state tomorrow could say we're out of money. You can
Which they
send a
don't.
bill, but we're not paying you.
Which
So
they
don't.
and that happened 2 years ago
But
to us.
if you have a town ordinance, then you'd be.
I think that would give us a more of a backbone, so
Keep
we're
us
actually
going.
building for
Yeah,
them,
we'll
so.
do that.
And like I said, we'll do some research, and I think that's a conversation, because revenue is a huge thing. It's a great way to offset our budget.
Yeah, we're gonna deliberate later, but
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna suggest that the selectmen put it in ordinance and we
Yeah.
assume that. you
Ordinance
guys are
takes
gonna
us 2 months to put in because we have to have a
Well, I got
public
till
hearing
July
first.
Yeah, but we'll get
Yeah,
information, we'll get some
60 days.
prices, because we have a rate, we have an approved rate that's been signed by the chiefs and Steve, and it just,
Oh, we'll do that.
yeah.
Right.
So,
And
that
the
explains it.
insurance is also built into a higher number? I see
this-
it's 7,800.
Is that,
General insurance?
Insurance,
Yes.
general
Yeah.
insurance.
Yes, the insurance has gone up, that, I'm gonna try and refresh my mind here, that, we're just trying to take the actual, that, again, not on the same fiscal year, that, so part of it could be too low last year, but we've taken, the actual of what they've paid one at a time. We've finished out that fiscal year and we've assumed a 3% increase, again. I think there's a new fire truck in there, a new ambulance, no, that wouldn't be an
The ambulance will
here.
be in there on,
I
but
don't
that's
think-
third quarter next year.
It's a 12% increase year over year, but you were saying it's
Well, if you look, this budget year for some reason went down, it was 70, went down to 64, it's going back to 72, maybe it was a little under planned
And
this
some
year.
of it is just the allocations between which department and which department, and Lou was much more precise, and
It
we
is going
were
down on
not.
the
Yeah, we
Both
dropped,
sides, so
we dropped
maybe-
one vehicle and we dropped one trailer.
Um,
So that's, yeah, so two
Um,
things did come off.
Lou was much more precise vehicle by vehicle, and we tried to stay, this was 84% of the total bill last year, we're gonna have it 84% of the total bill this year for the allocating between the two departments.
But also the difficulty is, we don't get the rates until, just before May. So we're putting this together ahead of time, if the rates are not 3%, increase it's 4%, 5%, then we're off.
Copies of stuff.
Right.
So, Derek, we don't have an ordinance in place?
We don't have an ordinance for billing, we have billing rates, but
Because when I just Googled it, it said Brookfield, 4th and 7th are $50 each for alarms,
for
nuisance
fire
alarms.
alarms, but
Fire
we
alarm.
don't,
8th or 100.
but they're not
police
getting,
charge
but
that.
they're not getting billed. So we're not seeing that money, and there's gotta be a stipulation in if that money's going to the general fund or if it's going back into the fire companies too, so
I'd say go back to park.
we gotta look at that. 'cause-
Weathersfield, third false alarm is $50. Plainfield, the first two are free, third is 25.
Yeah,
Middletown.
there's some towns that charge substantially more than that too.
Yeah,
I know Danbury was charging a lot more than that, so Norwalk, I'm sure, was not cheap.
And the corrective action sometimes to not have these alarms go off
It's worth
costs
more
a
than
whole
the
lot
fee.
more than $25.
Yes, exactly.
So
Well,
let's
it
pay
reduces
the
our call
$25 and
volume.
we keep coming out. So,
All right.
Marcia, where else do we have cuts?
There were three,
Training and I didn't, the other one was,
I can,
just so we can see what the changes were.
there were three, I can send it to you.
Should we go to capital or
I'm done with this.
Just do everything else?
Not in a bad way.
Buildings and
we-
grounds,
Not in a
that
bad
you,
way.
Alan Owen at the meeting, he had added $1,000 but nobody knew why. Turnout gear, that, there was a blanket adjustment of
This is capital, so what
5,500,
is this now?
but we had
Right.
asked for a schedule, we didn't get it.
So just for you guys to, I mean, the turnout gear was actually what, it was initially it was a $12 or $13,000 cut from last year's budget too.
So I'm sitting over here.
So, just so we're aware, 2028, there's gonna be a new OSHA mandate for fire gear. So fire gear will not be able to be repaired, if it's got PFAS in it, which is cancer-causing chemicals.
Right, which
So-
has been on the news a lot
Yep.
lately.
What we have done with Candlewood is we've been working together to create one gear spec, so we have one style of gear, same color, same everything, so we can start sharing gear more often. But gear costs keep going up, and once we hit 2028, there's probably going to be, when we have repairs, it's, if we don't have it in stock, it's gonna be a replacement. Pants were 2,500, coat was, I mean, it's, to outfit somebody with a set of gear is like $6,500, so.
What are we gonna do?
You know, so what we're doing is we are changing the ways because there's cuts here. Not everybody's gonna get a second set of gear. People that aren't meeting their percentages are not gonna get a second set of gear. So, you know, we'll have people that are extended out of service after a fire, because it takes 48 hours to turn sets of gear at the firehouse. We have one extractor, and we only have 2 dryers. And you can only put 2 sets of gear in there. So if I have 25 people at a house fire, it takes a very long time to turn sets of gear. So we just have to be aware that 2028, you know, if we start damaging gear, there's gonna be cost increases, so.
And
We need to gear you.
what Derek's talking about with sharing of the gear is if Candlewood gets a new member and they don't have gear that fits that individual and we have a set, then it's automatically the same and we just pass
It's already
it
been
right
paid
over.
for through budget money
And
because
we're
somebody
looking-
left. It's great.
And we're looking
Makes
to
sense.
condition the area where it's being stored so that it stays, the longevity of it will be better for it.
And what we've asked for is the same thing that Naheed had been talking about last night, is could we have a schedule?
That's what we're
gear
trying to work on.
replacement
So what we've been doing, because we just switched to first due, as people are getting their gear inspected, they are entering it into a spreadsheet, and now we're getting into first due, so we can actually see real time who's due for gear, what gear is in stock, and what the expiration date. Because once it hits 10 years, done. Cannot wear it. If somebody gets hurt with that, big problem.
Right now,
So-
there is not any recommendation or requirement that gear has to be taken out, professionally cleaned, but it's kind of being hinted at in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We've already started meeting with some outside third parties. That would also help with keeping track of the cancer prevention and mediation for that. So right now, it is not a mandated thing.
We're trying to, like I said, the problem is the NFPA pushes all these mandates, and it's designed toward career departments, and volunteer fire companies are just not able to keep up with these mandates.
As you see in
But
the
so
news.
part of why we're so diligent and push back on things is to be able to meet your needs in 2028. That's why you laugh and you say, we take 500 here, 1,000 there. It's all for gearing up, so when you do have that need,
Gearing up.
we have it.
Yeah.
I know, I put.
Yeah, I just don't want. I don't want it to be a shock. I just don't want it to be a shock when you see, when you see a budget of $80,000 this last year, and now we have a budget of $67,000 this year, and then in 2 years, they're like, well, we need $90,000. Why are we increasing $30,000?
And you
We
could
have
ask the
that
question.
conversation now.
We had it
so
now,
say-
but we'll ask the
Right.
questions again.
Exactly, but then we can go back. So we had that conversation. I think it's
Yeah.
just important, just so everybody's
But
on the
if we
same
had
page.
the
so.
schedule, we could see it coming
Correct.
and that's.
Like I said, we just had somebody damage a set of gear. It cost us $2,500 to repair a set of gear.
Charge 'em.
I mean, you almost,
Wish.
you guys gotta make that decision though soon, like instead of repairing bad gear, you might as well buy new. No, I mean, at what
Well, the
point do
problem,
you
but
turn
the
that
problem is
switch?
then when I have somebody that has damaged gear, and then I have somebody that's new that is required to have a new set of gear because they have to have in-date gear by the time they take their first live burn. It's kind of this balancing act where
And
we're
you're balancing.
trying. So
Is
we're
the
working
damage-
hard on it.
Is
Perfect.
damaged
All
gear
right, what
just
else, Mark?
shit-cammed
All
or?
right.
No, it
No.
gets good sense
And
down.
the turnaround time, so it got repaired within a week, where a new set of gear would be 2 months.
Yeah.
The access control system, this year they replaced all the locks and the keys, the manual locks and keys. Next year, they're looking to replace the key fobs at $105,000. Extrication equipment, the Hearst tool.
So let's go back to the key fobs. Is that already done, or is that something we could put out to bid and see what we can do? Or is that gonna go through
They
the purchasing?
did get quotes,
We already got two
and,
quotes.
but it would have to go out to a closed bid.
Perfect. All right, move on. Perfect.
The Hearst tool is necessary, that theirs is going out of warranty.
Just to touch on that one, so that got put in last year for capital and was cut. The spreader just went up 33% this year. We had one ram fail, so our low pressure, which is the actual hydraulic pump stuff, none of that stuff is field serviceable anymore. So once it fails, it's done. The good thing about switching to the electric stuff is the hydraulic stuff will come off, and our services will be cheaper because they're not testing as much. So that's the offset of that. Like I said, we break a spreader or cutter or a ram, it's done. We blow a pump, we're down to one pump.
It's almost like everything in life is now becoming a subscription.
It's
Yeah, sure.
No, seriously.
it's
It's gonna be
It's
good for 5
calculated
years, and then we're not
obsolescence.
supporting it
Right,
anymore, so you
yeah.
have to get a new one.
that's
That's the subscription.
Very much.
they just was it France? Somebody just went after about calculated obsolescence with Apple.
Well, the
and
farmers
phones,
have
but
it with John
that
Deere.
happens in the medical stuff. There has to be
Yeah.
an expiration date on everything. So,
Yeah.
but so,
And that's everything.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Les,
Train.
John,
yeah, just cut and train.
Naheed,
No, thank you for your
thank
service.
you.
I said we'll circle back with Brian with the capital apparatus stuff.
I'd
get
like,
all that.
I'd just like to bring up one thing that we hadn't discussed, is we have a stipend that has been in place for over 10 years of $1,500 per
Right.
qualified firefighter who meets the requirement. We should be looking at that. If not this year, then
I thought we
absolutely
couldn't
next
look
year.
at that. I thought there was a number that prevented us. Marcia, is there a number that, or something that,
There
that
was,
you-
with the EMS, remember there was something where if you get a stipend, you-
No,
right?
that there is something that the IRS has, that where you become an employee. However, I'll bet that number has gone up in the last few years, so we can check that.
so we
Yeah,
check it and
because we
stay
get
under that.
we get the stuff from that. But Lou's been working. Lou and Ryan and Candlewood have been working on the stipend stuff, so we'll have that.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do
Presentation
is we see we have a little bit of room in this year's budget, consider it. right? It's about 60 guys that qualify.
Well, they have to qualify, right?
Oh,
So they
yeah,
have to
Yeah,
do a
last
certain amount of hours.
last
and
year,
everything else, right?
last year I think we
Yeah.
had 40 something.
Yeah, Candlewood had like 20.
Yeah, so
19 or
Do we know if the other towns are, what their stipend is?
everybody does something different.
Everybody is something different. Some people give the tax, break on the tax. I've seen stipends of $3,000 and $4,000. We've been doing some research.
Pay per call.
Yeah.
As some towns do, like Stony Hill pays per
Yeah.
call, or Southbury pays per call. So everybody does something a little different. The tax abatement was an issue because we had members who
Didn't
didn't
own a house.
own
Had a
anything,
car.
so they got nothing.
They're getting
Um,
$200, other guys are getting $1,100.
Yeah.
That didn't seem right. No,
So
seriously.
yeah, no, like I said, everybody does it.
Can I suggest that you do a next priority form for it, so that we
Yeah.
have a specific number
Yeah,
that
we
we're
will.
looking at as we do our deliberations?
And it's also something that is, got a lot of sensitivity with the labor attorney. We would have to go through the labor attorney just to clarify it, because there's a lot of conflict with paying volunteers. As, so we just need to make sure that we're buttoned up there.
In the past, the way we've looked at that this is an offset to the expenses that you incur, driving to the job, taking time off from your regular job to, that's the way we're looking at it, but we'll talk to our attorney. We'll make sure it's fully legal, above board, and it
And not that this is not legal.
No,
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
We're
that
gonna
that's
change
just- yeah.
something.
Yeah.
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 And we're looking at like I
Ryan's
said,
heartbeat went up.
just for some insight. Lou's been working on this a lot, but there's a lot of criteria in there that people have to meet to even qualify for it. So there's a lot of stuff that they have to do to qualify. So we're making
Qualify
sure.
to be a volunteer.
Not, you know, to get their stipend.
I see.
You have to do
So
so
many
many percent of
calls,
calls, so many
hours.
meetings, so many training sessions. You have to have your physical. You have to get your fit test. You have to do night squads. There's a lot of things you have to do as a member before you don't just walk in the door and just get a
And
stipend.
it is time to look at that.
Which of our 70
Okay.
members, we only submit about 40 names or so. 40.
Yeah, because there's just people that do under 5% of the calls and
Not making the
that's what it
calls.
is.
Yeah,
So.
so we'll do that, Brian.
Okay,
We'll have that for you in a couple days.
all right,
Yep.
thank you very much.
2 questions.
Oh.
Tango,
Yes.
what the hell is that?
that is a great system. So Tango is this really fancy, handy dandy thing. Pager and portable radio on my cell phone. So no matter where I'm
So it's
at.
an app?
Yep, and I have a dedicated radio at the firehouse. It's got cellular data and it's connected to their system. So real time, I can key up on this and talk to the dispatch center.
Great.
One of the issues with our radio systems is sometimes you get into some of these big buildings and the radio doesn't go out.
Right.
But if you have Wi-Fi cellular capabilities,
Yeah.
which most of us do, I can connect to their Wi-Fi. We have a radio system in there.
So BJ's, Costco,
Right.
high school.
We've gotten better in some of these places with the new digital radio system. BJ's was great. We actually were able to talk to BJ's. So, but this also alleviates where radios are $2,600 a piece. We just got some, but when we have new members and we do not have the funds to buy them a new radio, or there's not one available, we have this system and we have unlimited licenses for it. So we share this with us and Candlewood and the EMS staff. So
That
they'll
answers
have-
question 1. Question 2, Knox, KNOX, what is this?
So we pay for that out of our budget. That's for the key secures. That's for the paramedics for their narcotics vaults, and then the fire apparatus and chiefs and the fire marshals all had them. So multifamily buildings and commercial businesses, you'll see a box outside of it. Either has a yellow reflective or a red reflective.
Gotcha.
We have a key that's inside of a lock system.
Okay.
We take that key out and then we take their keys out. So we have to
Lets you get
pay
in the building.
Yeah.
$1,300 a year for
Never knew
13
that.
devices. So
Knox box in the fire truck, so that.
years and years and years ago,
Gear shift.
You could drive, yeah.
I could go there tomorrow and.
Not that
break
they
into
want
the
you to
place.
drive.
yeah,
it.
years
Now
ago
I've gotta put a
they.
code in, you know who it
Yeah.
is, it gets
Who
transmitted.
was it? Yeah.
Right, who took the key out?
It's time stamped in the.
Good.
You're not going stealing the Twizzlers.
No, that happened in an apartment where somebody took a set of keys out of one of the trucks. It was not here, but somebody in Connecticut took a set of keys out of a truck and went into a business after closed hours. So
A non-fire
every-
member.
Yeah, everything is locked. You have to have a passcode in there. If you have an invalid entry, I can see it. So, but we cover that instead of splitting it between Candlewood and the fire marshal's office. We encumber that.
With respect to your comment about Tango, if they don't have a radio because we have a shortage, talk to Pete Franks, because we have a grant funding which,
We're just trying to get through that. There's a lot of stuff that the PD has priority over right now.
but still talk
We're
to
trying to
them.
get some stuff done for the communications room, but it sounds like the communications room might not be covered, so we might only get a radio, but that room needs to get redone with all
So
this
you're having a
infrastructure.
conversation with Pete?
Yeah, I mean, we have the monthly meetings, but
Okay.
there's some stuff with the microwave backhaul and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
The priority is making sure our infrastructure is higher priority. I can deal with that one portable radio.
Okay, because that.
And we have a budget in there for radios and pagers and extra stuff in there, so.
In here,
Yes, in fire and EMS, we have that in.
but we have a grant that
Right, I
we
know.
may have some extra room in
I
that.
think a lot of it's encumbered at this point.
It's not.
Okay.
No,
We've
there's some.
had to change things around.
Well,
and-
I'll find out on Friday when I speak to them at the
Right.
monthly meeting, so.
Yeah, no,
I know.
we're talking encumbrances.
If it's more radios, I'll put in for more radios, so.
Alright.
Correct.
You won't hear me.
Anything else on this side?
No,
You got it here?
We'll work on the apparatus
Les, you
replacement
happy
plan
now?
for you
Yeah,
You
Tango
need,
Tango.
You need
Yeah,
a Tango
that's what
Tango,
I
we
need
can
to
get
know.
you a Tango
guys.
Tango.
You do need
That's
it. It's actually really fantastic.
Alright,
so.
thank you guys,
Thank
appreciate
you
your
guys.
time.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
5 minutes early. That's pretty fantastic.
I want to thank you guys for all the work you did on this. This year has been better than any year before, and it's really working well. And we know, Lou, you're putting a ton of work in, so thank you very much.
And I think, you know,
It's really.
when Lou finally decides to not do the budget anymore, we've set it up for whoever takes over next because we you know, they said the Munis thing was rocky at the beginning, but this is
Not
overall
going anywhere.
significantly
Always rocky
made our
at the
lives
beginning.
easier, right?
This is one fortunate town.
Everybody said this is
Oh,
the
yeah.
best it's been in a long time, so.
Yeah, that's how we like it, so.
Fortunate
Thank
town.
you, thanks
Thank
for
you all.
everything you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I remember when the schools moved over to Munis from the system. It was almost open insurrection. Because it was a whole new way of doing things.
Right.
Like you were used to doing the same thing for 15 years. But now,
Thank
It's
you.
nice.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. now they really like it, and it makes it so much easier for both sides to cooperate.
Very good.
Yep. You wanna take us away,
No, it's,
Mr.?
well, I'm not the
I don't
boss
know, you're
today.
chopping at the bit here. One meeting you open and close, I think
All
you should
right.
just take it away.
So we'll start, alright, I'm good with that. IT. Right?
Yeah.
Let's start with IT.
Is there any changes to what this?
Well, the IT, there was no real changes. They asked for the cyber, to recap it, right? Which
Yep.
everybody seemed to think that we needed. I mean, is it a absolute must-have right now? No. But is it something we should have?
Absolutely.
Yes.
The
Uh,
body cams also, same thing. The
Yeah.
fire marshal's body cams, they're also great to have, but is it a must-have? I think we just have to figure.
I think that the thing, like when you and I were talking about anything that limits risk, limits
Right,
liability.
The risk is just.
Yeah.
You know, with the body camera, there was that, but with the cybersecurity
Same
and having
thing.
something happen, that risk is
Absolutely,
too
yes.
huge.
Yes.
Too
No
huge.
one at this table wants to answer to a resident when we have to pay a $4 million ransom.
Nope,
Yeah.
no,
I think the risk mitigation is more of a requirement than a nice to have.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's a need,
I
it's a
agree
need
100%.
now.
Yeah.
In today's world, we just have to.
Unfortunately, that's what's
be-
happened today.
Yeah.
so we're good on that.
I
Yeah.
agree,
Yeah.
yes,
So everybody's okay, nobody's gonna,
no,
okay, we gave Steve a little task on the part-time help to talk to police,
Yep.
to see
Yeah.
if that's gonna free up Matt and maybe get some savings, he could be a police officer more than an IT guy. And we sent the two IT off to see if they see any savings. This, we were talking $31,000 over currently what we're paying, that would be split with the school.
17 each.
31, we said, right, total?
Yeah, but that wasn't right, it's 34.
No, it's 17.8 each, so it's
was
about
on the-
35.
With the
Oh,
benefit.
that's what it was in the book,
Yeah.
that's what I said earlier,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
The market
We're not
said
changing anything now,
31.
but that one will come back to at the end based on new information, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but if he comes back and they don't wanna do it, I agree, this isn't a force. But if they come back and say, hey, Matt can maybe fill in a few shifts or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't wanna
Well,
say.
Let's have that
It goes on the
conversation,
list of
just
things
keep
to
it
come back
open.
on.
keep it
Oh,
on.
Yes, yes.
Eric did say something about the E-rate and they file, so the full amount is in the budget, and then they get a 50%
50%.
reimbursement, so.
For the
when they-
network switches, yeah.
So when they get
So
the
that
50,
105 would go down to
That's in the
but the
52.
105 is in the budget.
No, we assume that we're getting that.
Okay.
Well, every grant that we can get, we're
Is
assuming
assumed.
we're gonna get it.
Perfect.
And if somehow we
So,
don't get a grant, we're gonna have to decide.
got it. So
whether
we're
to
not at the
apply.
higher rate, we're at
No,
the,
no, no.
okay, just
Well,
checking. Thank you.
Good question.
Okay, so the IT though, we're good on.
IT 's
Totally fine.
We're tabling one item, but we're going ahead with the
Yeah.
cybersecurity.
Yes, definitely.
EMS, I think they're pretty straightforward. Was there any questions on anything on the EMS side that I remember? I don't remember any
No,
from my side.
I would say, I was so impressed with the change and how easy it was and how fluid it was. And I think Wayne did a great job and everybody did, increasing their, like you said,
Revenue.
increasing the revenue and doing what needs to be done. I think it's amazing. And
I think they've always been somewhat conscious or very conscious of their dollars, but tying them to the town has made them even more conscious.
yeah.
Yes.
And they're working towards understanding that. Brian, your opinion too, or what?
Yeah, the one, this is probably, what's the word for it, a little controversial, and it's probably not a budget discussion, but at some point, we might wanna do an analysis and said if these guys were town employees, is there a major change in financials? Cause, you know, they might be paying a lot more for health insurance and blah, 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 blah. You know, it's working nice now, but if if it's costing us a lot more because they're not town employees, then we should have a discussion.
Yeah, we should do that analysis. And I think now that we have a level, steady state,
Yeah.
we can look at it
And there's
over the
also
next year and say.
A ton more
what-
transparency in the
mentioned
books.
his
You
insurance.
can
Not for
see
this
everything
budget,
now.
but
Yeah.
by the time we're sitting here next year, that would be good to have that analysis done.
Yeah, on the face of it, their insurance is less than ours,
Oh.
but they don't have anywhere near as the coverage we have.
And then the other question would just be not financial, would be, so does that make the first selectman their boss? That, and just the chain of command might be,
That's a board of selectmen discussion, I want
Okay.
money.
okay.
I'm a finance guy. But it's absolutely true.
Actually, on the face of it, I would say it would be, if we formed a new fire commission, they would be like the police commission. I work very closely with John Puglisi, but he does not report to me. He reports to the police commission. I think we would want that in place so that they have a buffer to us. I would work very closely with them, and John and I work really closely together. We don't have a problem. The big issue is he's gonna go to the police commission, right? Like this issue of adding, supplanting IT. That's a conversation for John, Matt, Peter, and the police commission. We have to involve everybody.
Yeah, I agree. It's not,
And I would think that would be the way we'd go.
Nothing else on EMS.
No.
All right,
So
so-
I
go
did
ahead.
see there was a 41,000 for health insurance, but you're saying that there's this, there's no
Remember
fluctuation
they said
happening there.
that we undercalled
There's-
it this year. She said they undercalled this year, so that's
That's
why.
right. Yeah.
Yep, and they cannot be on our plan because ours is just for governments and they're a nonprofit.
Got it, okay.
I think we would love to offer them our plan because it's a great one if they wanted to pay for it, but we can't do that. The plan doesn't allow that.
so EMS, we're solid on.
Yes.
There's nothing we gotta do. Fire, we gotta talk about that $4,000 or $3,000 drop box.
Yeah.
3,024.
I'm gonna repeat exactly what he said to me before he's out, is that these guys do so much, they want the Dropbox. It might not be the best technology versus the other solution, but if that's what they want, give them $3,000. And by the way, have it go through our procurement, because it sounds like it's expensive, get it for cheaper, but if that's what they want, for what they do, give them what they want, that's my view.
And if that's what they're comfortable with, and that's what
Yeah.
look, it seems as though it's a comfort thing right now.
It's a conversation.
And that's okay, because if it changes and
I think
somebody
this is an
who
age
comes
thing.
in
Yeah.
and he doesn't wanna,
Exactly.
but like you were
I
saying,
think-
but if you
I think what we need to do,
if you
If you went on
stops doing the
OneDrive-
budget and another guy comes in and
OneDrive
wants
is,
to do
it's the same
one-
envelope, it's the
least
same
$60.
files, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's the
I
same
think what we
setup.
do is have
The
our
difference is
IT
30,
guys
It's a
$40.
run
comfortability
through
for a year.
how they're doing it, what they're doing it, how they're setting their files up. Could we just transfer all those
Yeah.
to OneDrive and get them to a comfort level?
Transition.
I agree if you wanna leave it.
I just think we
You're right,
leave
I
it
was
for
wrong,
right
but
now.
that's what I was trying to get
I
at.
think,
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
fine.
agree with Brian though. I would just,
Yeah, it's,
considering the amount of work that Lou does and his detail and the way you two work, I'd give it to him.
And if-
I think the difference is $800. It's not
Yeah,
much.
why-
And then when the newer person takes over Lou's position, we can have this conversation down the line.
I think we should have it as we're going along, right?
I just think that, and we talked about this, besides, they've come so far to work with us. There's gonna be some pains, there's gives and takes, like in any relationship.
Yep.
And that give is not a big
Yeah.
give for what we take.
this is not
Honestly,
the,
arguing over $100 a thing
Not for
hurts
this
the
department.
relationship.
well, that's what I'm saying, this isn't the hill you choose to die on.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
This is not the hill you choose to die on.
Right.
No.
I mean, and we can look at it next year, and then Lou
Plenty
may
of other
change.
hills.
Lou's come a long way from working with us, so he might see next year, maybe it's a change, and if not, we have the
Anybody
discussion.
disagree?
We're good, moving
No.
on. What else?
I wanna I wanna put the billing revenue back at last year's budget and work on getting this,
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, so we can.
For the
Yeah.
fire?
I have it written down.
For
I'm
the-
gonna
Yeah,
check,
fire.
Yeah.
It's
I'm gonna
just-
check the ordinance that we have. I know the police, 'cause
Something's stopping
They
them
have
from
billed
billing
my
that we
brother-in-law
can fix.
for too many
Absolutely.
calls.
Whatever it is.
We
it's
should
I wanna make
something
sure they're
else.
still billing, if
Yes.
they have that process, if they're
Anybody
trying to.
disagree?
Sound like they are.
No, no, they should be
Doesn't sound
getting
like they are.
revenue.
They
They'll
should,
look their
because
revenue.
we do have, I know this for a fact, because I've talked to John, we have the frequent flyers, people who do not manage their building, do not,
Yep.
don't forget to secure a door, somebody comes in to go shopping, bang, the alarm goes off,
So can you,
I will follow.
no, I don't mean to put it on you, but
No,
you,
no.
can you ask them who they're sending this to? Maybe if it came from the first selectman, these bills or something, who we're sending the
I'm gonna
bills
look
to?
into it, yeah.
I mean, maybe he doesn't have the juice behind him, and maybe you have more juice?
Yeah,
Or you can find out who we can send it to, at, you know, at a higher level?
yeah, I wanna find out who, I wanna get more information, and I'll come back to you.
It
and see what-
sounds like a solvable problem,
It
so let's.
absolutely
So
is.
put it back in, put the 6,000 back in, I don't
Yep,
have an
yep.
issue with
I'm
that.
just looking up what we've got year to date.
Yeah, he said it was like 2,000 or 3,000.
And then he has to split it with Camelot or something.
One fourth,
25
one quarter.
Yeah,
Quarter,
25%.
yeah.
But yeah, I think, I'm with you, I think it's a solvable problem, and we should figure that out for them.
This said they got 25,000 back in 22, 23, 18,000, 23, 24, 10,000, 24, 25, if those are actual, so.
I think he
Something got
referenced
changed.
that where he had like a spill, like a big bill that he did, that
Yeah,
isopropyl
but all
alcohol
those are well
spill.
over 10,000.
Right, I think he had a couple of one-offs, which is what he was saying, that he was able to get money for, but it seems as though he's running into a little bit of a
This year
roadblock.
they didn't get
Yeah, we gotta look at how to help him.
Yes,
Because I don't know if billing is his strong point, and that's not a pick, it's not my
No,
strong
no,
point
no,
either.
no.
I don't bill, and I don't know how to bill, so I don't wanna belittle that, I mean,
Year
Yeah,
to
you
date
seem
is
frustrated.
2,000.
22,000.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So we can help, because I think they're trying to do their best on their
Yeah.
side.
absolutely.
So, all right, anything
This
else on the
pushes
So
fire?
what do
Yeah.
you wanna change that to?
Back to the original, this year's budget.
This year was 15,000.
Oh, no, I have 10,260, am I on the wrong line? Is it?
Right there, you have a minus
Yeah, that's the
10,260.
Yeah, that's,
Go
that,
up.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Same, I think we should just keep it flat year to year.
all right.
It just forces them, it forces the issue to work on it.
Yeah, and make it happen.
Because if they say we're missing a number, we'll remove
We're not gonna hold them to it, though, I mean,
No.
that.
they
If they
can't get
can't
it.
do it, they can't do it,
Right,
right,
right.
but if they don't work on it.
But I
then-
think,
Right.
like we all discussed, getting an ordinance involved, maybe that will give him that, you know, foundation that he
Impetus.
needs. And Glenn, to your point, maybe he needs some more backing with the bills. Like, this is coming from this office, from this
Yeah.
town, from,
I think we should look at it pretty carefully.
try
It
to
seems like a real friction point for them.
well, I also understand there's a humanity portion of it. He goes, you know, the house just burned to the ground, I'm gonna hand him
Yeah.
$1,000 bill.
Yeah.
That, I get that. But at the same time, if he's going to false fire alarms, there's absolutely no reason why we
Those
shouldn't
will
be
stop
getting.
if people actually are forced to pay their bills.
Exactly.
He didn't go to mean school. Sometimes you gotta
Yeah.
go to a little bit of mean
I
school.
didn't see
Yeah,
that.
but you should.
Their job is to
Glenn, there was
save
no need for you to go
lives, you know.
twice.
Correct, that's compassion.
I was head of my class.
I see this bill comes from the Board of Finance.
I went
Got
twice
worse sending the
and
bill out.
graduated head of the class. Okay, so,
I'm having Brian send the bill down.
no, sorry, we're good. So
Yeah,
there
good.
was, now, we just gotta be aware of the, you kept mentioning it, and I get it, the new equipment. But I mean, what are we gonna do? I mean, we
You gotta put
gotta,
that in the 10-year plan. I
Right.
think
Yeah.
Some of that is in, but not what he was talking about, so.
so we put it
Yeah,
in.
he said he'll work with Brian, so we
And
It
can
could
they're
be a
getting-
capital expenditure 2 years from
But I
now.
mean,
I was just about to
we
say,
gotta
it's
outfit
probably
our
gonna wind up
people.
in capital.
We
I
have
mean,
to, and we just gone
surprised
for
it
it,
was
we just gone and.
Well,
said,
it sounds
yeah.
as like they're not there yet, but they will be. So I think they're working on the life cycles like the police are, so you'll
They
have
had
a
some
better.
equipment with life cycle, but they didn't have this stuff.
But this is what we've been pushing them for. This is what
Yeah.
we've been pushing all the departments for.
But at
Yeah.
$6,500
Today we
a
know
pop,
this is
60
happening.
guys, you're talking $380,000
Okay.
in 2000.
I get it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
6,000 per person.
We should be ready for that.
You know, maybe
But
it's
we've
something
always said,
We're gonna support you.
maybe it's something you, if it doesn't get brought to you again, maybe it's something you
Now
start
that I
saying, do
know
I
it,
need,
yeah, now I'll
right,
answer.
do I need a reserve, do I need this, do I need that?
okay,
got it.
so we
Oh,
good
I-
on everything then, right? That's
Yeah.
it for everything, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes, you said that yes as
I
in,
was looking at Tim, make sure we're up to date.
so we're at 8:40, we're good.
Yep,
Told you he'd get
I
it better
pushed
than
it.
me.
you pushed it,
You
because you had a hard stop.
Who do we
Yeah.
have tomorrow?
Board of Ed, right?
Tomorrow is your regular meeting and Board of Ed.
We start at 7?
Yes.
7.
Then we go to the Board of Ed, that's it, right?
Right.
For tomorrow.
And
Well, it's regular meeting.
Regular meeting.
I'm gonna try to do, I'm asking AI some questions, and I wanna bring that to the board, so maybe one day, 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, see you
See
later,
you, John.
thank you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
No, we're gonna adjourn it, I just gotta get my thoughts around. We're good then on land use,
Yes.
Yes.
right? You guys took
We-
out
we
$1,000,
took that on, we
did
that.
whatever.
Yep.
Yep,
We're good on IT.
yes.
They have a few comebacks, so everything we've gone through, we're good on.
And we agreed, we were all good on the police last night when you weren't here, we went
That's
through
what I
everything with
wanted,
them.
right, so. We're up to date, we have a few little things out, but we're up to date on all the departments we've
Yeah,
seen.
and just to be clear on the police,
I think
we did
we-
make a few changes, right? We asked that the trailer and the SRO rifles be funded through the,
Outside service.
Outside services fund.
Right.
And then we obviously aren't doing anything with the boat at this time.
Since we're deliberating a little bit here to set up for tomorrow, one of the things that was in the budget, out of the budget, outside the budget, this way budget, is the ASO, right? And you talked to the
Yeah.
police
Talked
department
about that,
about that
yeah.
last night.
Brian had a good idea
What
about
was the
that.
idea, so we're all on the same page for tomorrow?
the idea, and yeah, I said send a letter, but they're coming in tomorrow. So the
Right.
point was, I think everybody agrees that if the Board of Ed should be the ones deciding whether they need this and funding it, though the police should manage the employee. So I think as a Board of Finance, we should ask the Board of Ed if they want this and are they willing to fund it? And if the answers to those are yes, then we'd suggest that we take that amount of money out of the Board of Ed budget and transfer it in the budget cycle here.
And how much were we talking about on funding that?
114,000 for an
Transfer to the
ASSO.
police.
Yeah, and I think just to add a little nuance to your question is an ASSO important enough to you, Board of Ed, that it would supplant something else?
That's how they would do it. They wouldn't just
Right.
take the budget up, they'd have to
Right.
contain it in
I
whatever
just,
budget.
I just want us to be all on the same, Les, where are you at?
This guy works for the Board of Ed then? This
No.
potential ASO, or he's police
No,
department?
Police.
The
He works
police
He's
for
department
police
has
department
to,
stationed at the school.
He's 100% there.
Yeah.
because
Yes.
he's an armed security officer.
And when
once
there's no school,
He's,
He doesn't work.
that's what we asked the
He doesn't
chief,
work.
and he doesn't work, they don't work during the summers, it's different, the SROs are police officers in the summers, on holidays, when schools are out. They're going back to their normal police duties versus
During the
school.
summer.
The ASSOs, and when I asked the chief that last night, they don't really come around. They're really only sole purpose is at the school, which is why, A, the police have to manage it because they're armed. The school can't manage an armed. But they should be paying for that in that they're not offering any services to the police department outside that of being at the school, which is why I think Brian's idea was good, which is, and like we're all on the same page, which is if you want it and it's important, then that money needs to come out from you
Yeah.
and go to there.
And I had that conversation with Steve Parisi today, and I repeated it, I said, the way I looked at it, the reason I put it back in your budget as the first selectman is I want the Board of Ed to make the decision, this is more important than something else.
It has to be.
In your list of 20 priorities, where does an ASSO come out?
Les, your wheels are turning down.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about that 10-week vacation they get. Granted, they get 2 weeks off right after school ends, the
can't
ASO,
change
and then
that.
what happens after that? What does he do? And-
Well, they get
So
paid by
he's
the
like paid
hour.
like a teacher then?
No, they get
pretty
paid by
much.
the hour.
Yeah.
It's hourly,
They're hourly.
and I believe the scheduling is
ASSO is-
done
All
by
right,
the
so if he's
school.
hourly and school ends June 20th, and then he takes a 2-week vacation,
He or
which
she.
he get,
It
he
could
or
be a
she,
she.
whatever.
He
It's
takes
now
a
July
2-month
15th,
vacation.
to July 18th. What happens between, what do they do between the end of July and the start of school?
They're out.
Whatever they want to
Whatever
They're
they
out
wanna do.
and they
How
don't,
many do we have right
they
now?
don't get paid.
One.
We have one.
Just one at the high school.
You can ask them what they do.
And
No.
then, Glenn, that was
I'm
the
just-
guy,
I
that was the
just-
guy that
I
was
just
there
don't-
when, we had
They
the,
would know, we don't know.
No, so as long as they're hourly, what the hell? Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean.
We're
hourly.
not paying someone
It's not
to
a salary
not
issue.
show up with
I
a-
just, are you okay with the concept that
Yes.
they want it? That's what I, right, if
I
they really
think they're
feel.
crazy for not getting it a while ago. I
Okay,
mean, in light of what's been going on in this country, I mean,
We do have one. It is existing in the
Yeah.
budget.
Okay, all right, one more thing, go ahead.
Oh,
Fire
you
away.
done with your stuff?
We're good, he's okay, yeah.
Okay, so,
Fine.
one other thing I think we should do is, now that we have a reasonable view of the health, insurance cost, I think we should, update the budgets for the actual number, and for now, take the delta of the 16% versus the 12.5 and put it in a separate contingency line, but show the health benefit number that we actually think is gonna happen. And
Similar
ask
to
the board.
the internal accounts we were talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be an internal source
I don't know if
or
we're gonna-
whatever.
yeah.
Where are
Just
we
so
at
you know
now?
this.
Have you taken it out
Not
in
yet.
your budget?
If I took it out,
No.
I have 300,000 as an estimate out, and we are at 332. If I,
30,000 from what?
The health.
From-
I like your idea
before
to
we-
keep it as a separate contingency item, because we don't know exactly what it's gonna be, right?
I'm just saying
We're-
for now, I
we're
don't wanna
99%
change any of the total numbers yet.
Yeah, I
Until
would
we
leave
do
it
the
in.
final deliberation.
I
don't
agree.
wanna
You're
lose
just
it.
And we
moving
haven't
it.
got
I just don't wanna
the,
see it in the, yep, right.
the union
Yeah.
numbers yet either.
yeah,
right?
so,
No, but that's it.
I took the
That's-
104
that's
out of
contingency.
ours,
It's in
and I'll
contingency.
move the 300 out of theirs, and I'll move it into a separate contingency line.
Yeah, well, the trick is, and Steve, I don't know what the Board of Selectmen's thought process was, when you cut the Board of Ed, whatever, 250-ish,
Mhm.
does this health reduction allow them to meet your number, or you expect it
No,
to be?
the health wasn't a consideration. The consideration was, we wanna get this budget to when we're virtually assured our residents will pass, which is right around 4%. And we looked at it very carefully, and so we put a cut on the town side and we put a cut on the school side to get there.
But if they use the health reduction to make their cut, that achieves the objective you just brought up. That's why I'm asking,
Yeah,
are they allowed to count that towards your cut?
the final decision is yours as to how much money you give them in total. How they choose to spend it is up to them.
Just go back up to your top line though, Marcia, way to the beginning.
And I think we-
The scariest thing is, to me, again, I'll go back to what we talked about the other day, on the expenditure side, I want the totals, you're not at the totals, the summary page.
Yeah.
Is that $1.4 million in the debt service relief that we got.
Yes.
Our expenditures are up over 4.3 and 3.8, we gotta work on those. And I get the town was a little higher this time, and I understand that, and I can look at that, we're gonna work on it too. But I'm saying, those are the two numbers, that, we can't take that 1.4 and say, gee, we're gonna get this every year, let the
But
expenses
this is a
climb.
one-time thing, we gotta plan it for future, we cannot.
Right, but the 3.8, is the 3.8 assuming that we got 300 savings from health and they cut 250 for
No.
the Board of Selectmen?
That's a
changed it.
250 in cut, right, yes.
So it's both of
250
those.
plus 300.
Okay.
Yep.
One of the problems we're gonna have tomorrow is understand, not a problem, discussion point, how's that? Is, we don't know what budget the Board of Ed is working to. No, you don't, we
I
don't.
know.
We don't, they put forth, the superintendent put forth the plan to the Board of Ed, but, but it was a 4.86.
Right,
They weren't even working to Steve's 4.4.
We haven't seen any numbers.
right.
Correct,
Maybe they have-
right.
We've seen their,
Nothing
like, basics, we
They
haven't seen
haven't
the.
updated, yep.
what
But
they're
after that
updating.
last meeting, they were charged with the responsibility of taking a look at this again and then coming back.
Which we haven't.
So that should
And they voted,
technically,
but they did vote, their last meeting, I believe, to the 4.86 number, so they weren't even gonna readjust or look at it, they went back to the higher number. So this is something we have to understand, when they say, oh, we've met the budget, what budget did you meet? What is your end line item? Because is it Steve's 4.4, is it their original 4.8? And then we gotta work off of that, cause this is,
I think we're going off at 4.8 to start with. I don't necessarily blame them, because Board of Selectmen give a number, we'll give them a different number, they just churn like crazy because they get a different budget every month.
okay, we just gotta
It's
understand what
gotta-
we're working at, we gotta know what ground zero is.
Right.
All right, on that note, anybody else? I'll make a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.